Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for being here. Welcome to our November general meeting. We have 9 principals and directors here with us tonight to share about their schools and some of the specialty programs in our district. We're hoping to do something similar in spring to enable another group of schools to come and present. So this is just hopefully our first batch. Here is our agenda for tonight. We have our executive board updates, and then rep announcements. Like I said, no one had reached out to us ahead of time, but if you're a rep and you want to make an announcement, just let Brad Duell know, and then he can call on you at that time. And then we have our Q&A with Dr. Menzel, and then we have our SUSD specialty programs. So I don't think we let the principals know ahead of time which order they're in. So this is the order that we'll be going in. Each is just going to speak for about 5 minutes about their program at their school. Okay, so for updates, we have a lot of events this month. We had a great one last night that was on supporting LGBTQ+ students and their families in our schools. So it wasn't recorded, but we do have a lot of resources that they shared. So an email will be going out with that to hand over those resources. So if you, anyone who registered on the Zoom will get those. If you did not register but you want to receive them, just reach out to me. It's just president@scottsdaleparentcouncil.org. And then upcoming, this Friday, we have one on understanding 504 plans. So that will be a presentation from Raising Special Kids, and then followed up by Shannon Cron will also be with us. She's the Director of Support Services here at SUSD. So she can answer some questions specific to SUSD. And then another special event a couple weeks later is how parents can understand and prevent bullying. That's presented by our Social Responsibility Committee. That's Wednesday, December 2nd. That's a presentation from the Arizona Attorney General's office. And then also Shannon Cron will be there to talk about SUSD's policies. And then our December general meeting is on internet safety for parents. That's a presentation also from the Arizona Attorney General's Department. And that will be a live presentation, but there is a Spanish language presentation that's available, recorded, that if anyone would like to reach out to us, I can give you the link for that.
Hi guys.
Okay, on to rep announcements. Did anyone have an announcement that they wanted to make? Sorry, I can't see chat or anything on this. Okay, we can maybe hop back. If you do, just chat me. I'm going to stop sharing in a minute here. So, and then
I think Megan wanted to say something.
Oh yes, Megan, go ahead.
Hi. I'm not sure you guys can see me or not. It's like crazy town in my house right now, but we had some exciting news last night at the board meeting. Navajo was removed from the growth plan that it's been on for the past 2 years. So super excited. We've worked really hard to increase our enrollment, and after the fire and everything, so we're up over the 400 mark with our students, student enrollment with online and at campus. So super exciting for us to kind of have that mark off of us and be moving forward. So yay, Navajo.
Sorry, I'm still muted. All right, thank you, Megan. Okay, so now we will move to Dr. Menzel. Somewhere on here.
Hello.
There you are. All right, let me pin you so that I'm, okay. Okay, so as always, we collected questions in advance. So anyone who wants to submit questions, usually I take them up until like midday on Wednesday of the meeting. It's the same link every single time. It's on our Facebook. It's just tinyurl.com/menzelquestions. So at any time throughout the month or the week of the meeting, please, feel free to submit a question there. Okay, so we'll go right into it. So first question is, when can our children expect to go back to a full schedule with no early releases? And then this was just followed by a comment that said, please keep our children in school. I've noticed such a difference. They're much happier and have less anxiety.
So if I understand the question correctly, it's when can a full return be expected with no early releases?
Correct.
Okay, so the plan that has been put forward and approved by the governing board for the second semester does include early releases on every Wednesday for the second semester this year. So I think the most direct answer to the question is that a regular schedule is probably in the next school year. The early releases are something that were included in the second semester planning, given all the feedback that we heard from teachers in terms of the demands on their time and the lack of time to do planning and collaboration to support our students. And so one of the commitments that I made and our leadership team made to the teachers in having the conversation is that we would identify a way to build in some of that time, which is why we have the early releases on every Wednesday in the second semester.
Thank you. Next one, most of these are COVID related, as you can imagine. When will we still be following the updated green, yellow, red metrics as a district and return virtually if all three metrics turn red? Or was the letter to parents this week indicating that we will stay open regardless? And then a similar question is just, will you reevaluate the safety of in-person learning as the numbers are increasing, which is concerning?
I think that these are all legitimate concerns, and there are many nuances and facets to how we look at the data and make the decisions. So we know that ADHS moved the recommendation that everyone would go to virtual until all three benchmarks were back in red. If that happens, I believe that the recommendation of ADHS is that everyone returns to virtual. And I believe that that's what Scottsdale Unified School District would do that. At the same time, we don't necessarily have to wait for all three to be back in red to make a decision about returning to online learning. And that's where we've said repeatedly, and I feel like a broken record, but we look at the community spread indicators. So what's happening on the case count, what's happening on the positivity rate. That third metric as a benchmark indicator is really not relevant because it's not the way that most data is being recorded, which is why that's not a driving factor in our decision making. But we look at the evidence of community spread, and then we look at what's going on within each individual building. Number of cases in the building, evidence of spread within the building, and we have conversations on a regular basis with officials at Maricopa County Department of Public Health with respect to whether or not, given all of those factors, they recommend any of our buildings, classrooms, or potentially the district be closed. As of right now, there's no recommendation to close any of our buildings. I have spoken with a number of colleagues in the Valley and the North Valley Education Consortium, and there are clearly some challenges. We know that Paradise Valley has decided to return all virtual, but Deer Valley, Peoria, Dysart, Cave Creek, Fountain Hills, Mesa, they have not made the decision to return to online learning, but they are doing essentially what we're doing, and that is looking at it on a case-by-case basis. And the reason for that is because of the importance of in-person education. We want to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of our students and staff, but we also want to make an informed decision based on the data in front of us. And so it is stressful for everyone involved, but the decision to close is also a serious one because it does have implications and negative consequences for many children and families. And this idea of yo-yoing back and forth between in-person and online is challenging. Just like anyone who's had to quarantine knows that that's disruptive to a student's schedule. So we're doing the best that we can to manage in this environment. We're willing to take the step to move to online learning when it is warranted. Different people have different opinions about when it's warranted. What the governing board has decided is that we're going to do this in conjunction with the public health officials who are trained in managing a pandemic, and their guidance is really critical for us in making those decisions.
Okay, thank you. In order to minimize contact tracing and quarantining non-sick students, why can't we move to an all-day school day every other day with half the students going in person each day and the other half doing EDL or streaming and then switching? So
the idea of a hybrid like that was introduced and rejected a couple of times during the first semester. That idea was adopted for second semester at the secondary level as an intermediate step between a full return and all online. And so right now we're not in a position to be able to do that model. And we also know that it doesn't really work well at the elementary level, but we've actually built it into the planning for second semester at the secondary level to reduce the number of students on campus on any given day. And at our high schools in particular, with the numbers of students we have, that would be something that would be helpful in terms of reducing the risk. So that is built into our planning for second semester.
Okay, great. How are you addressing fake negative tests provided by families? And how are you addressing parents that test positive, hiding it and sending their kids to school regardless? And then when will SUSD stop accepting Care 360 fake negative tests?
So that's an interesting question. One, we don't necessarily know about fake negative tests. And quite frankly, we're not really collecting negative tests. We're looking for positive tests. Positive tests then create the next step in terms of identifying close contacts, who needs to be quarantined. So we identify, isolate, and quarantine in order to avoid any further spread. When you think about negative tests within the scope of what we do, a negative test doesn't allow someone to return early from quarantine. So even though they have it, they still have to quarantine for the full 14 days. The only time a negative test would be used by the district is if someone had COVID-like symptoms, they didn't test positive, then they isolate for 10 days under the health department guidelines. And if they present a negative test, they can come back. So that would be the only time. I don't know how many of those we've received. We would be suspect of a Care 360 negative test given what we've learned this week, but I don't know how many of those we've received. I think there may be some parents and some other organizations that look for that negative test, but we're really looking to collect the positive test so that we can isolate and quarantine appropriately to minimize any potential spread of COVID in our schools.
Okay. So with the quarantine numbers skyrocketing, how is it do you feel it's safe for students and staff to continue in-person learning? Please share the number of quarantined kids over the last 4 weeks.
So I don't have the total number of quarantined kids at the top of my head, so I have to look that one up. We have taken a pretty aggressive approach to quarantining because it's the way we can ensure that we can continue with in-person instruction. I had a meeting with the student advisory board this afternoon, and one of the students talked about an experience where a student tested positive in a class. The students that were around that individual had to quarantine. None of them ended up COVID positive. So even though they quarantined, they never ended up with COVID, which reinforced for the students that wearing the mask, following the protocol is a way to ensure that they can continue coming to school in person. And so it's the taking that extra step to ensure we're being cautious about how we do this based on the guidance of public health officials. And so it does impact a fair number of students, but it's also necessary in order to be able to keep schools open.
Okay, thank you. How are you ignoring the data you have that isn't weeks old and continuing on a path that puts students in danger? And then similar question, why are you ignoring Athena Foundation's metrics since they are real time and not weeks old to make informed decisions?
So
will you adjust that?
I would argue we're not ignoring any of the data. We're taking the data from various sources and including that in a comprehensive review of our current conditions. There's data, and I sent you a link if you wanted to share it, Emmy, out of JAMA research about the impact on elementary children of not being in school. There are a lot of arguments for the impact of where we are, what it's looking like in our communities, whether or not it's safe or not safe to be in school. The data that we currently have indicates that it's actually safer to be in school than to not be in school. Do I have concerns about Thanksgiving? Absolutely, particularly for our older students. But we are taking it one step, one day at a time. We're looking at all the information. Where the Athena Foundation gets its data and how they report it is useful in tracking trends. But Maricopa County Department of Public Health uses the 14-day data because it generally has settled. So there's different data dumps, and it comes from different sources at the Arizona Department of Health Services. And so those numbers are likely to shift over time. And in my conversations with Dr. Sonnenschein at Maricopa Department of Public Health, she said the 14-day indicators really have pretty much settled where they are. And so those are numbers that really don't move after that point. Those are also the publicly reported metrics for our county. And so our public needs to know and understand how that data is collected and reported. But then we're looking at our case data. So our nurses, and our two lead nurses in particular, collect our data building by building. We're doing active confirmation of positive cases, identifying close contacts, sending those letters out. We no longer have to wait for the health department to do their own independent verification of a positive case. As long as we've got that verification in hand, we start the process of identifying close contacts and notifying them. So our processes have been able to speed up once we got that change with the health department. So from my perspective, when you look at a number of our schools and the numbers that have 0 or only 1 positive case, we're moving forward with providing education to our students in an environment where we believe they're being served well. And if and when we see evidence of transmission within the school that is worrisome, which is a word from one of our health department colleagues, we'll take action to address that. But at this point in time, Chaparral was very close. We're still concerned about what's happening and concerned about some of the things that we've heard. But we're taking all that into an advisement and having ongoing conversations with public health officials about next steps.
Great, thank you. Why are teachers telling kids they have to quarantine if they're with family during Thanksgiving? Your email said it's a recommendation if you travel, which I know it said more than that in the email. So maybe you can clarify on that.
So, as I said, I'm nervous about Thanksgiving. We've got COVID fatigue. At least I do, and I know a lot of people who do. Thanksgiving, for many of us, is an opportunity to get together with family, extended family, friends. Some travel throughout the state or to other states. Some fly to other locations. And every time you expand your network of contacts, it creates increased risk of becoming infected with COVID. Our concern as a district is we want to be able to keep our schools open for in-person learning. If we have a huge spike in COVID cases at school, that puts that in jeopardy. And so if people travel, the request in my letter last Friday was to voluntarily quarantine. We could take a step further and mandate that. I just was reading that there's a district in Massachusetts that has asked parents to sign a commitment form with respect to their travel plans. And I know people, some people feel a certain kind of way. At the end of the day, for me, it's about how do we ensure we keep our schools open and keep them open safely. And 2 weeks of quarantine, if you've been exposed or potentially exposed because you didn't follow the recommendations of public health officials around Thanksgiving, seems like a reasonable trade-off. It's fair for you to make that choice that you're going to travel and spend time with friends and family. My request is that you also honor all of the other people in our community, our learning community at our schools, by voluntarily quarantining for those 2 weeks so that we can ensure that we don't have additional spread of COVID in our schools.
Okay, one more COVID question, and then we have one non-COVID question. Just one. What should we as parents do if we feel like returning after Thanksgiving break is too dangerous? Can we switch to EDL?
So I think, and this is advice that I would give to any parent, your job as a parent is to make the decision in the best interest of your child. And if you don't feel it's safe to return, we're going to find a way to provide the educational support through the balance of the semester. I don't know that it's an official shift from what your learning model is to EDL because there are 3 weeks left in the semester before the winter break. So it's really about how do we provide the educational support for any family where they don't feel comfortable coming back, provided that our schools are still open. We'll work with the families to be able to provide for your child's educational needs in that environment.
Great, thank you. Okay, and it's been several years since SUSD created a strategic plan. Do you have plans to develop one?
I like this question. And if we didn't have COVID, we would already be well on the road to being developing our long-range vision for Scottsdale Unified School District. So that is something that after the new board is seated and we get past the start of the new year, we actually have an RFQ out for facilitative support to help the district in doing the long-range planning for Scottsdale Unified. If you listen to any of my conversations during the interview process or in talking with the board, I think it's really important for us to hear from our community in terms of what the hopes and aspirations are of our parents, of the business community, of our students, and then co-create a vision for where we want to be in the next 10 years. What does that preferred future look like? And then what will it take to get from where we are to that preferred future for Scottsdale Unified? I believe we've got the resources, the talent within our teaching staff, the talent within our administrative staff to become a world-class district. I think we're a really good district. I think we have the potential to be exceptional and compete with anyone around the world. And so figuring out how we put that into place is a conversation that will start after the first of the year. It will require elevating the voice of our students, our staff, our parents in the community, and co-creating that vision of our preferred future. So that is really exciting to me. If we can get beyond COVID, which is, consumed all of the oxygen in the room, and really turn our attention on how do we create those meaningful learning opportunities for all of our students, that will be very exciting.
Okay, great. Thank you so much again for joining us and for being generous with your time. And thank you to everyone who submitted questions.
I always appreciate the opportunity, Emmy. Thank you. And shout out to all of my principals who are going to be presenting tonight. I know you're going to do a great job.
Okay. So with that, so first up we have Pueblo, Principal Shelley Human. I apologize if I'm pronouncing the names wrong. So go ahead and take it away when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. And it's humming, like, humming a tune.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's all fine. Thank you. So hi, my name is Shelley Hummin, and I am the principal of Pueblo Elementary. We are a dual language school, and I am very proud that that picture that is on my slide was taken the day that we did a very brief celebration when we found out that we earned the A+ distinction. We are the only Scottsdale school for this last year to earn the A+, so we are very, very proud of that. So basically, Pueblo is a pre-K through 5th grade dual language immersion school. Our students do learn 50% of the day in Spanish and 50% of the day in English. I will say that about 95% of our students come from non-Spanish speaking families. So our families are choosing to come to Pueblo because they believe in biliteracy and multiculturalism. So in a nutshell, as you can see on this slide, K through 5, during the entire program, science is always taught in Spanish. In K through 3, math and Spanish literacy is also taught in Spanish. And then in 4th and 5th grades, social studies and science is taught in Spanish. So math moves back to English. Obviously, English language arts is always taught in English, and in the lower grades, social studies is also taught in English. And then, as I said, math goes back to English in the 4th and 5th grade. We have an emphasis on multiculturalism and biliteracy. Our school is the start to the path of biliteracy. So our students matriculate to Mojave, where there is a dual language program there, and then eventually to Saguaro, where we want them to earn the stamp of biliteracy that basically tells a potential employer or a college that they are able to be biliterate in both languages that they have learned, in our case, is Spanish and English. We have a very big emphasis on social emotional supports and a very, very strong community. So I think I made it under the 5 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Okay, next up we have Cheyenne with Principal Grace Dombrace.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for inviting us to present our schools. This is very exciting for me. I know for all of my colleagues as well. So my name is Grace Dombries, and I'm the principal at Cheyenne. I have been there for 7 years now. Cheyenne has been a school of choice in the Scottsdale Unified School District for 23 years. So we were one of the first concept choice schools, I think in the Valley even, based on 9 traditional cornerstones that have really carried us through these 23 years. So as we move forward into new technology and new things happening in curriculum, we really focus on these cornerstones to develop our program and expand our program. So just a little bit about Cheyenne. We are a Spalding certified school. Spalding is a program that focuses on literacy through reading, writing. Handwriting is a major emphasis, and it is a phonics-based program. We have used Spalding since our inception. So it's really what we focus on for teaching students literacy and reading comprehension. In math, in our elementary program, we are a K-8 program. In our elementary school, we have Saxon Math, which is a spiraled curriculum in mathematics so that students are constantly practicing and relearning the concepts of mathematics as they move through new concepts. When we get into our middle school does expand into a more of a high school preparatory type program. We use much of the curriculum that is used at the district level in mathematics and science. But we do expand our core program in middle school to include humanities in addition to English language arts, and then Spanish is part of our core curriculum in middle school as well. In Spanish, our students, all of our students graduate with 1 year of high school Spanish credit as they move forward into the high school. We are a uniform school, so we do have a very common and easy uniform for our students to wear. And again, as a K-8 school, we are very much a community school, even though we are a school of choice, because our families stay together for those 9 years and then before they transition on to high school. Do I still have time, Emmy? I'm good.
Okay.
So
I wasn't keeping track.
I'm just going to say we do have a, we will, on the 23rd of November, we will at 5 o'clock at night, we're going to invite families to come on for a full presentation for the school. And you can find that link on Sign Up Genius at our school website. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Principal Stombrace. Okay, up next, we have Principal Jennifer Waldron from Anasazi.
With possibly 2 slides, but hopefully you can hear me. I just want to start off again thanking you for the opportunity to present tonight. I am a Scottsdale Unified School District parent as well, so I really appreciate all of the work that you are doing for our community at large and for our children. But I have been the principal now at Anasazi for 3 years, and in the first year we decided to bring IB. Now IB, an International Baccalaureate, our program that we are embedding, is so intricate and detailed. I could take all of Grace's time and Shelly's time and 5 more hours to kind of explain it. So I'm going to try to do an overview and speak rather quickly through it because it is so complex. But pretty much, International Baccalaureate started in the 1960s in Switzerland as a way for there to be a global high school diploma that would be recognized for its rigor across the world. So it wouldn't matter when families are going from one country to another, there would all be that high standard and it would be recognized since all of our systems are a little different across the world. So in the 1970s, the US got their first IB school, and in the 90s, IB brought the middle years program and the primary years program. So you're gonna hear a lot of acronyms. If you watched the board meeting last night, Dr. Sacco said it best. We have a PYP, MYP, and DP in the IB. So you hear a lot of acronyms with us, so I apologize. But the PYP is a primary years program, and it is the International Baccalaureate for elementary and primary grades, and it's primary years. This is for ages 3 through really 5th grade, and we are so excited to be a candidate school for SUSD. Mountainside Middle School and Desert Mountain High School, which we feed into, actually received their authorization for MYP, their middle years program, last week, and were recognized last night at the board meeting. It is such an honor and a great recognition because it takes 3 to 6 years for accreditation. This process is so rigorous to go through. So we are a candidate school. We're hoping to be only one of 6 PYPs in the entire state of Arizona. That's how complex it can be. There are 578 total in the United States for the primary years. So it shows you how kind of exclusive it can be. And in fact, overseas, it's more known for private sector, for private education based on the rigor. So the whole point of IB is, how do we teach the whole child as an inquirer, both in school and beyond in the world? And it's really looking at curriculum based around a lot of things. So we want to, when you look at this circle here, in the middle, our teachers are getting ongoing training. They are trained every week with our coordinator, inside and outside of school hours, on these concepts, approaches to learning, and the way we teach students. And there's always a community action and exhibition. So we're currently working with Desert Mountain seniors who are trying to bridge a gap between students communicating across the world. So we have pen pals with Taiwan coming up. And what was great was we already had a partner school with Singapore last year. So when the pandemic happened, Singapore had been through it way longer than us. So we were actually able to reach out to our partner school to say, hey, what do we need to do to really be there for our kids? What are you seeing are the biggest challenges? And right away they said social emotional. So we were doing social emotional activities from the week 1 in March when we went to virtual learning, just because of those partnerships. We often Skype with other countries and work on things together. And it's great to have that relationship with Mountainside and Desert Mountain, but then of course in the state, country, and world. So if you look around the circle, I know it's a fun circle, it really embeds transdisciplinary instruction. And what that means is we don't learn naturally in isolation. I shouldn't be learning my math from 9 to 10 and my social studies from 10 to 11 and my science from 11 to 12. We naturally learn when things are blended together and make sense. So right now, our teachers for the next few years are making these planners of inquiry where they take all the state standards and the district pacing maps and all that good stuff, and they throw it up in the air, and then they reshuffle it to where it makes sense so things are taught together in more of a thematic way that is applicable to students in all contexts. So it is a balance of the academic rigor with the creativity. So the arts and the world language of Spanish, which we offer, are just as important as everything we do in science and social studies and math, and the rigor is in all of it. So we really want an engaging, relevant, challenging, and significant exposure to learning for students. What's great is it's for all students in our primary years program. So age 3 through 5th grade, students are getting this instruction, and teachers are already starting the facilitation of this. I mentioned Spanish. Unlike Shelley's program, which is dual immersion over at Pueblo, our students get world language like they would music art PE. It's a special and they rotate into it. So our specials might look like music art PE, then makerspace, coding, and then Spanish exposure. In Spanish is the elective. And everything is done and based around these the curriculum is based around these 6 transdisciplinary themes of global significance. And this is built upon in the middle school and the high school. So the more students have exposure to this at the primary years, just think about where they'll be by the diploma program. So everything we do and plan is around these themes: sharing the planet, who we are, where we are in place and time. This is a fun one right now with COVID. But a simple example that I give to families when they're touring is, take it, for example, when we went to school, we learned about the parts of a plant. And of course, when we do our STEAM activities, it's exciting and you can do great projects and things with plants. But we'll get more into what is the impact of deforestation? How does that impact where we're at in Arizona in the trade? How is that impacting climate, the world, et cetera? So it just takes things to a deeper level. I'm trying to make sure that I kind of spoke to everything. if we get authorized with our preschool or our pre-K, we will be the only pre-K in Arizona authorized program, which is great. But we're already seeing families from all over the world join us. In fact, because of the IB program, we had a dad join us he brought his son over from Switzerland. We've had a family from Japan, and we recently had a family from Italy that were in IB schools strictly because they know that the level of rigor and just the overall teaching for the child is at such high levels. And that was the point from the beginning. So it's great because it's just best teaching, and it's teaching the whole child so that not only are they challenged in the learning environment, but they're able to apply that context in the real world as adults. So we are very fortunate that we have it, and we are constantly evaluated, not by SUSD, but by outside state consultants and world consultants and global people. So it's very rigorous, but we were way ahead of the game in accreditation. We were hoping to be authorized next year. When they came in December, they said in 1 year, well, in 6 months, we were at the level where most schools are in year 2.5 or 3. But with COVID, we're kind of going back. But like I said, we train every week. It just gives such, I have to say, as an SUSD parent myself, if this was available when my child was in elementary, she's in middle school now, but I would have put her in it. So I can't speak highly enough for the program, and Mountainside and Desert Mountain have done such a phenomenal job with it. But with all that said, and it's not about the program, it's about the child. What I kind of want to share with all of you is it's not, although we all have these excellent programs, our job as principals is to make sure you find what's best for your child. And so we work well together. If this isn't the right thing for you at Anasazi and you need dual immersion, or you need traditional, or you need Mandarin, we really work together to make sure you find the best fit for your child and your family, because that's what it's all about. So I think I went over the 10 reasons on the other part of the slide there, so I won't bore you to death with that, but I just appreciate the time. And if you have questions, let me know. It takes about, we do quarterly trainings for parents because it's that intense. I know Lulu and some others are on here, so they're a great resource. But I just appreciate the time, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, next we have Desert Canyon Elementary with Principal Kimberly Mills.
Good evening, and I'm Kimberly Mills, and thank you for also having me tonight. I really appreciate you letting us share about our program. Similar to Pueblo, we're a dual language immersion program for Mandarin, and we do the 50-50 model for the program. At our school, it's a choice. So we have a group of Mandarin students from kindergarten to 3rd grade. So this is our 4th year that we've had the program. And each year we're adding a grade, and eventually will be kinder through 5th grade. So part of the program though, the students receive half of their day in Mandarin from a native speaker. And they receive math, science, and the language for half their day, and we switch about lunchtime for them. So then they'll pack up, and then they'll switch to the other side of, say, for example, English, and they'll receive their language arts and social studies for the English on that side. For the students that are in the Mandarin program, they get the same schedule as our English students, so they still receive the same specials along with the same time as their other classmates in the grade level. They go to lunch with them, so they get the same that the other students do. For the students that are not in the Mandarin program, we have an enrichment Mandarin class for them that they can receive on our 6-day schedule, 1 day out of that 6-day rotation Mandarin for part of the program. So that's a little bit about our program. Again, it is similar to Pueblo with their model, but we're Mandarin, and we also get we have a lot of open enrollment coming to our school for the program. And last year was the first year where we actually had to start a wait list for our kindergartners. So we encourage our incoming kindergarten families to register early so we can save that spot. So thank you again for letting me present tonight.
Thank you, Principal Mills. Okay. Okay, next up in our rapid fire round is Pima Traditional School with Principal Christopher Hodo.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for inviting me. My name is Christopher Hodo, and I'm the new principal of Pima. It's my first year at Scottsdale as well. Our school vision is, I am proud, I'm inspired, I am motivated, I will achieve, I am Pima. And we are a pre-K through 5th grade school offering a traditional approach. And like Cheyenne, we have Saxon math and Spalding reading. And our Saxon math has a spiral approach with mathematics, and our Spalding reading incorporates speaking, listening, writing, spelling, and reading to help students become accomplished lifelong learners. We also have programs such as Accelerated Reader and Accelerated Math, and this is used to help challenge and enrich students at their current academic levels. So one is a reading program where students read books at their academic level, and another is a math program where they take the current standards of their math and they get through with the current standards about halfway through the year, and then the other half of the year they look at next year's standards and start working and addressing those. We are also very much a student-centered school where PBIS is at the forefront of our school. We have many incentives and rewards to promote academic achievement and positive behavior. Some of those things that we have is like we have the Hodo Hall of Fame, where students get recognized for their academic achievement or growth that they make. We have things like our Golden Tray Award, where we promote students that have positive behavior in our cafeteria. We also are a Title I school, so with that, we are able to provide students with extra support in reading and give them interventions. And we also have a lot of supplemental programs with that associated with that as well. And then we also offer a free preschool. We are also 21st Century School, and that is a before and after school program that allows students to take some unique classes that they wouldn't normally be able to take in school, such as like Lego Club and coding and gardening club and yoga and things of that nature. So it gives students a wide range opportunity. And then we also offer all our specials for students, so they get PE, art, and music on a 6-day rotation. And then if you're in 4th and 5th grade, you have the opportunity to be in band or orchestra. So I thank you very much for your time today. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me.
Great, thank you, Principal Hodo.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the PANDA program, which is Programs for Assisting Needs in All Developmental Areas. This is the preschool program, and we have Bronwyn Maxwell with us to share about that.
Hi, thank you for inviting me and talking about the PANDA program. It's a program that's near and dear to my heart. I've been with the program in the district for 25 years, and this is my 3rd year in this position that I'm in. It's an early intervention program in the district that's mandated through IDEA. We service 3 to 5-year-olds that have been identified with a developmental delay. We do the screenings if parents call us for children that are as young as 2 years, 10 months, and are concerned about their child's development. We will do the screening. If the screening determines that there are concerns of a developmental delay, we will do an evaluation, and this is all for free through IDEA. We currently have 9 programs in the district, ranging from Copper Ridge all the way down to Yavapai, at 8 different schools. And then we have a specific program that's called the STAIRS program. That's a structured teaching and inclusive relationships. And what it is for children that need a lot more structure, that need to learn how to learn. So learn how to wait, take turns. They may need the visual structure of a classroom or like a schedule to get them ready. And the whole idea is once they're in the STAIRS program and they're ready to learn, then we're going to transition them into their home PANDA site. The PANDA program works 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays are the days that we do screenings and most of the evaluation meetings. And each session is 2 hours and 45 minutes. And there's an AM session and a PM session. The specialists are in the classroom. We do a push-in model. So the speech pathologist occupational therapists and physical therapists are in the classroom, and they're pushing in. We want the children to be able to generalize the skills. So there's some individual work with the children, but most of the work is done in the classroom, because we want the children to be able to generalize the skill in a variety of different areas. You must reside within our district boundaries in order for these services, but every public school district in the country provides these services. So if we get a family that happens to be attending a community ed program, but they live in Fountain Hills, I'll help connect them with the Fountain Hills Early Intervention Program. And then we do offer some peer model spots in each of the sessions, and those are children that are neurotypical. So we're giving them a preschool experience, as well as being the language and fostering, being the language role models in the classroom. We work closely with the Title I preschools and with the community ed preschools for children if they have language delays or some concerns regarding their development. So thank you for letting me talk about PANDA.
Great, thank you, Ms. Maxwell.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Saguaro High School for their Math and Science Academy. So we have Program Director Christopher Brandt.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Saguaro High School is a comprehensive high school in our district. The Academy is a sub-program within Saguaro High School. We also have CTE programs of health occupation, cybersecurity, engineering, and biotechnology. It makes an excellent place for the Math and Science Academy for our district. Our main mission is to provide additional opportunities in the area of STEM. We have cohort groups for our freshmen and sophomores where they're hand scheduled so that they travel through the day together. That gives them an opportunity to work with peers that have the same interest. It also allows us to bring in speakers, field trips, and provide some additional time and efforts with laboratory experiments and that sort of thing. And so on the slide, you can see that our cohort classes for freshmen are geometry, trigonometry honors, biology honors, and English honors. The other three classes during the day, they go out and do whatever they're interested in. Our program is a little bit different from the Paradise Valley program. Our kids are encouraged to experiment and see other classes, and we have a lot of our kids that are very talented in music and the arts, and so we try to support that also. At the end of their sophomore year, they can apply for our distinction program. Our distinction program has about 50% of the kids that start in it. They have to complete 9 advanced math and science classes. They do have some choices. They sit down with an advisor and we make a program of study with them. And of course, a kid who's interested in mathematics or actuarial science looks a lot different than a kid who's interested in becoming a doctor or an engineer or alike. And so we sit down and we design a program for them and select their courses, and then they sign a program of study with their parents. And if they complete that program of study, then they receive a second diploma from the Scottsdale School District. Their transcript looks a little different. The actual program was modeled off of college rubrics. We found out that some of the major STEM universities take all the information that they get from the students and they quantify it. And so we asked them to give us those rubrics, and they did. And so we made our requirements based on those rubrics. So we require our kids to do 2 years of honors English. Even though they're STEM kids, it's very important for them to be able to write. They can also choose to do the advanced English that through SEC dual enrollment. They can do English 101, 102. They also have to complete 2 years of a single foreign language. They have to be in 2 math or science competitions, and they have to complete a field experience, which is a little shorter than an internship, And they also have to make a poster for that and do a public presentation. There is some community service associated with it. They have to participate in some math and science academy activities, the STEAM night. And so we have a great program for kids who are interested in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Our feeder schools are giving us kids that are really excited about that. And we hope that if any students have that passion, that they'll come and see our program.
Great, thank you, Director Brandt. Okay, next up we have with the CTE department, we have Erin Schreier, the director.
Hi there, thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. As you can see, we have 16 exciting career and technical education programs that are offered at our 5 comprehensive high schools. The majority of our programs do begin in 10th grade, and they are 2-year programs. These 2-year programs offer students first looking at all of the career opportunities that are available, moving into professional skills, and then really getting into the technical skills of that program area. As you can see from all of the stars that are listed there, most of our programs are aligned with dual enrollment with Scottsdale Community College. So our students are earning high school and college credit at the same time. This really propels them on a career and post-secondary pathway, whatever that may be. We also are very incentivized to get industry recognized credentials within our programs. Again, this allows students to really showcase their skills that they have by earning those credentials. For example, in our nursing programs, students earn their CNA, are able to sit for that exam by the end, and then be out in the workforce working as a CNA while they are maybe pursuing further education. So they're getting that field experience right alongside of their education. So it really works out really great for them. We have a few programs that do begin in 9th grade. Our engineering program is a 3-year program, so students can start that in 9th grade. We also have a new course that we started this year at all 5 of our high schools, which is called Digital Future. So any parents that have 8th grade students currently, I would encourage you to take a look at that. It's a wonderful course for career exploration, but also learning some really great skills for transitioning into high school and into the workforce in college, mastering those technical skills of computers. So some great opportunities there. Within CTE, we are, like I said, 2 years. So by the end of those 2 years, our students are really ready to showcase everything that they have learned. Students can access our programs through the high school planning guide. So it's through the registration process, and that will begin at most of our high schools in January. So all of our classes with those course descriptions would be listed in the high school planning guides. And my contact information is listed at the bottom of the slide. Should you have any further questions, I'd be happy to connect with you about the programs that we offer. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, next up, this is actually our last one. We have Echo Canyon with Principal Kat Hughes.
Hello, thank you for having me this evening. Last but certainly, hopefully not least, my name is Kat Hughes, and I have been the proud principal of Echo Canyon for the past 4 years. We are a school of choice located in the Arcadia complex. We offer preschool through 8th grade, and when I say preschool, we offer a 3-year-old and 4-year-old preschool. So if you're doing the math on that, a student can start with us when they are 3 years old and actually stay with us until they are 13. So we have the ability to keep our students with us for 11 years. This helps build relationships in a way that most schools cannot accomplish. So one of the major cornerstones of who we are is our focus on the social, emotional, and academic well-being of students. We often say we consider this to be the tripod of our school philosophy. The social and emotional pieces really come in with the relationships that can be built by our school-wide looping model, by our small school size. We are actually small by design. We have about 2 sections per grade level. And that is because of the physical limitations of the actual number of classrooms that are on our campus. So that small size, that looping model that I'll talk about in just a minute, and really being able to keep our students for 11 years really supports those relationships, while at the same time, we have 2 adopted programs for social and emotional learning. One is Sanford Harmony, which is very standard amongst Scottsdale Unified Schools, and we use Project Wisdom. Project Wisdom is a K-8, actually it's a K-12 program. We use the K-8 opportunities for our school. We incorporate those through morning announcements, and then there are built-in lessons that our teachers implement, which include writing and literature, which align with the SUSD curriculum maps. So it really becomes a comprehensive, integrated kind of program in that way. Another piece on that social and emotional and academic focus for us is our diversity. We are a Title I school, as well as we have a high population of Spanish speakers. So we've got this lovely combination of a population at our school that we really, really value, and it encourages the inclusivity of folks from different cultures and different ability levels as well. So talking about school-wide looping and our pre-K preschool model, it is a award-winning program hosted by Marin Velarde. It is for students that are 3 and 4 years old. And then our incoming kindergartners get a kindergarten teacher who then stays with them for 1st grade. They get a new teacher for 2nd grade who stays with them for 3rd grade, 4th grade new teacher stays with them for 5th grade. In 6th grade, we do something we call middle school light. Our 6th grade students have 2 elective periods, just like our middle school students in Scottsdale Unified. However, they stay with a homeroom teacher all day. This allows them to transition into the high school model, transition into the middle school model of A, B, C, D, F grades away from the standards-based grading, and allows us to give a little bit more focused attention on some of those executive functioning skills that our middle school students can use, and allows us to build that refinement. And then comes 7th and 8th grade. Our 7th and 8th grade students will have the same ELA teacher for both 7th and 8th grade, as well as science and social studies and math. There is a strong body of research that supports looping as far as high positive relations to academic achievement, as well as relationships in the community. And at the same time, one of the benefits we discovered, looping is pretty new at Echo Canyon. We were originally Arcadia Neighborhood Learning Center back in 2016, and the change happened in 2017. So we've not necessarily seen the AZ merit positives of the academic pieces, but I can tell you it was a lovely opportunity for 50% of our entire school to return back to the same teacher that they had after the quarantine ended this year. So that was a very, very powerful moment for us. And moving forward, we focus on hands-on experiential learning. There's a lot of real-world experiences and a lot of hands-on cooperative pieces. All of our teachers are Kagan structured trained, so they use Kagan cooperative learning structures, as well as going outside in our gardens and working in some of those opportunities. We have gardens that throughout our entire school that are designated for particular grade levels that are aligned to the learning in the grade levels depending on where they are on our campus. We do have a partnership with ASU and the School of Sustainability. They have come in and helped us work through the curriculums for SUSD and the curriculum maps and bring in a theme of sustainability and systems thinking for our students. And we have some wonderful community partnerships with the Blue Watermelon Project, which allows our Chef in the Garden program and some of our Exploration Friday programs to continue as part of that hands-on experiential learning. Wanting to keep it within my 5 minutes. If you are interested, we are happy to, we are doing virtual tours at this time. Just feel free to give our office a call and we're happy to help you. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Principal Hughes. Okay, thank you everyone for playing along with our rapid fire approach tonight. We will post this whole presentation so that you can look back on what we covered, and it'll also include the contact information for how to reach out to these schools. As many of the principals mentioned, there's tours at all of them, and they're available for questions as well. So that will, and I need to thank Allie Robbins, our VP of Programming, for planning everything tonight. Thank you very much for reaching out, doing all of the principals to come attend with us. So as always, if anyone has questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me. And if you don't follow us on Facebook, please do that, because that's where we post all of our meeting information, and you can always reach out to us with questions there as well. So thank you very much, everybody.